Okay, we're live.
We're live.
We're live, dude. Okay. So, for people who are just listening right now, we've known each other forever.
Forever.
Pretty much. We went to elementary school together, and we've been boys ever since. So
Definitely.
But I wanted to share this with you. Let me give you a little bit of introduction, though, first. So, yes, we've known each other for a very long time, since elementary school. And then you went to Alhambra High School. I went to San Gabriel High School. And we split up.
We split up a little bit.
Split up a little bit,
like
right
freshman
there.
and sophomore year, I think.
Yeah. And then we came back together.
Yeah, you saw me at a basketball game. You were on the bench, and I was passing the ball in. And you were like, Drew, and I was like, Marty? I was like, oh, shit, what's up? And they're, get back on the field, or get back on the court. I was like, oh.
Yeah, like, Drew. So, yeah, dude, we lost touch for a while.
Yeah. We did. Freshman and sophomore year, I believe, were just. It was. I think we met up again sophomore year because I only played basketball for I think like 2 years.
Okay, that sounds about right. Yeah, that's where kind of like in your punk rocker days when you had that like long hair,
long curly ugly hair.
Yeah. Okay, and then we kind of rekindled our friendship, and then we get into like the adult age, and it's like, man, what do we do now? We got to get into the workforce, and.
Yep. Family bills
and all that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we were talking about before the podcast is that I'm interested in people who are doing something besides their 9-to-5 job, because for most people, they don't love their 9-to-5 job, but everybody has some type of interest, some type of love, some type of hobby. And if you can make your hobby into a like viable business or
second income,
side hustle, whatever you want to call it, and grow and continue to grow until that's your primary source of income, or at least a good source of your income. I think that's the American dream, man, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
So when did this first start getting in your mind?
So originally it was probably... So I've been producing music for a little less than 2 years, and it just kind of sparked. I was going to a lot of raves, I was going to a lot of festivals, and really dug the music. And we played in a band. Remember when we were kids and we were high school, and we played a show, and I always played music, but I never felt like I could get band members to like line up, and I got kind of sick and tired of trying to get other people to be motivated like I was. So then I just I literally went online and was like, I'm gonna order this little crappy DJ set, and I just ordered it and YouTubed it, and I was like, this is something that I want to be able to control the music.
Yeah. And
I sat inside my bedroom and locked my door and told my wife, which was my girlfriend at the time, I was like, I'm gonna be in here for a couple hours and I'm going to try to figure this out.
Yeah.
And then it just turned into like a humongous passion for me, just being able to control the music, control the vibe, and try to learn what like DJing was really about. Not just like, oh, I want to be, famous and on the stage. I want to learn how to control the music.
Yeah.
So that kind of sparked it.
Very cool, man. I mean, we've always been interested in music ever since we were in high school. We were in a band together. And then, so that kind of sparked your interest because you were interested in the music, but you wanted to have control over what was going on into the creative process without having to deal with anybody else's BS.
Exactly.
AKA bullshit.
Exactly. It's just too hard to get 5 people in the same room at one time. When you get older, they got kids, they got work, they got bills, they got drama, they got baggage. It's just like, you know what? I'm going to do all of it myself and see how it works.
Yeah. Well, that's a beautiful thing about having a project that you can actually control all by yourself. And it's super beneficial. One of the hardest things, like if you watch, I don't know, documentaries on bands, like I was just watching Foo Fighters, a Netflix documentary on Foo Fighters. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that one
Check
yet.
that out. It's dope. It's like the story behind the Foo Fighters and everything that happened. But, band members break up.
Right.
There's all kinds of drama between money and, recognition and whatever else that goes on into creating a band. But it's like you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Micky Waltz. This is what you do. This is your creation.
That's right. Yeah, it's my
And it's a
little
beautiful
baby.
thing.
Yeah, and it's awesome to be able to just sit down and you kind of get like an idea in your head and you can just draw it out. And you can just sit there for how many hours you want to do and just draw it out. You don't need fancy equipment. You can just sit there and try to work out your melodies, try to work out this. You don't need to be proficient in like straight up like, concert piano, right? You can just kind of know, okay, I know these notes. Let me move some notes around and kind of start molding what you hear in your head.
Yeah. Now, how easy or how difficult is it to get started?
Yeah. So it's to get started, it's a little bit more of a grind because you have to learn the software. So I started with Ableton, and Ableton's not super expensive. You can get like the intro Ableton and kind of just hop on one leg. But if you're serious, you'll invest into your craft. So I bought Ableton, and I looked at it and I was like, this is crazy. This is so hard. I didn't know anything at all, and I literally felt like a caveman, just like with a rock on the computer. Like, how does this work? It was so hard. So I just kept YouTubing it. And I honestly felt when I first started, I was like, I'm never going to learn Ableton. Like, this is so hard. And then I was like, shut up. Just sit down and get it done. So I just sat there for hours. And I was like, oh, this is getting easier and easier and easier. And then repetition, I was like, this is cake. But then it gets into the next level. Okay, I know how to use Ableton now.
Yeah.
But my music still sounds like shit.
Yeah.
So now I got to start working on how to, frequencies and what to cut and stuff like that. All the internal workings of how you make music. And then that process, continues to grow and get harder, and things change and people do things different ways. And what you might sound good, hundreds of other people might think it sounds like crap, but the other hundreds might love it. So that's when the whole creative process comes in.
Yeah. So you do collaborations with other people as well.
Yeah.
Do you outsource any of your technical work to anybody else, like people who mix and master for you?
Yeah. So I didn't ever. So I was always mixing myself and mastering myself. The first track that I ever had out, I collaborated with a vocal artist, and she went and pretty much had it mixed and mastered by my friend, and it sounded great because we were really struggling like on the synths. So I was like, yeah, send it out, perfect, no worries. Everything else I have done mixing and mastering myself. And then I ended up finding a guy named Walter, and he does all the mixing and mastering for like Injuna Beats and for a lot of like the main artists that we listen to. Really cool guy. I think he's in like Iran or somewhere. I just emailed him and I was like, hey man, check out this track. And he was like, honestly, it sounds really good. I don't have to mix anything. He's like, I'll just throw a mastering chain to kind of boost the mids and the low end. And that was pretty much it. So I feel like I've gotten to the point where I can mix and master my stuff by myself.
Okay.
But then certain labels, they kind of want to pick certain things apart. So like I send it to one label and they say, oh, the mixing doesn't sound that great. But then I'll send it to like another sound engineer and they're like, dude, it sounds legit. So it just depends on whose ear and what label. And they'll kind of throw their own mastering chain on top of it, kind of clean up some of their frequencies. A lot of like the trance and progressive house, they'll add more reverb to certain parts because they want it to sound very roomy, very, very full. So it kind of depends on the label.
Gotcha. The reason why I ask is because for this podcast, like setting all this stuff is fairly easy.
Yeah.
But actually like editing the video, like you said, like when you first start, it's like, okay, I don't know how to do any of this, so I got to learn how to do this. And then you spend the time and you get better and better. But to be quite frank, man, this is about the extent. It's like I want just a studio where I can just have everything already set up and I can just press record and then we go.
Exactly.
And then I get all that information and then give it to somebody so that they can edit and do a real good job on it.
Yeah.
So that is the goal. Is that something that you see for yourself, or you enjoy the actual process of creating and mixing and mastering to completion?
Well, from a lot of like the videos that I've watched and a lot of like the artists that I follow that I've done like their master class and stuff like that, a lot of them mix and master their own tracks, period. And since I've gotten to the point where I feel like I'm good enough to do that, I'm going to continue to just mix and master my own stuff just so that I can kind of have full control over my track. And then when I send it to one day, hopefully, Anjuna Beats or, you know, the people above and beyond, right, where they're sitting there and they're actually going to, you know, release my track, they're most likely going to put their own mastering chain on top of whatever I've already done because it has to sound universal to their label. So I want to be able to make sure that I'm on top of my craft in every aspect because I want to be able to just be like, I don't need anybody. I can be in my studio, boom, 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 knock it all out, finish it, send it off, and be like, here record label.
Gotcha.
Just post it and we're ready to go.
That's
and then
fantastic.
If they want to add it, they can add it, right?
Very cool.
But I want to be able to hone that craft and just, I feel like technology is still changing so much, right? And the plugins changing, the sounds changing,
right?
The music's changing. So I want to be on top of that. And if I feel like if I send it off to someone, I'm going to lose that creative edge. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be able to know how to do that.
Gotcha. Now, when you're sending it to labels, what's that process like? Do you create a song, so you get done mixing and mastering, you get done creating, putting things exactly how you want it, and then you finally have a song?
Yeah.
What is the process? How do you go about searching for labels? Is there something that like Above and Beyond or Juna Beats, are these kind of just the premier people or labels that are in the industry and you're like, you know what, let me find out what their email address is? Or how do you go about doing it?
Yeah, so they have like demo submissions on their website. So you can demo submission to them and probably never be heard. Maybe they'll listen to it. I network a lot with the DJs who are in they're already signed to their label. So they're not that big. They're just like me.
Gotcha.
But they're already signed. So I'll send it off to them, be like, hey guys, check out my track. Throw it in your DJ sets. Like, let me know what you think.
Yeah.
And then I'll get feedback like, yo, this is awesome. And then I'm kind of like, hey, well then can, you know, send it up so maybe someone else can hear it. And it's just kind of that snowball effect of trying to like send my music out, help them out. And then like if I see them post something, because they're regular people, I mean, they're not technically like Above and Beyond. They're just signed to the label. I'll repost their stuff. I'll send out the word, hey, then check out my boy's track. This is awesome. And then I'll send it to people. And they see that I'm not just asking for a handout. Like I'm trying to grow their brand and network and help them out. So they're more willing to shoot my music over. And then there's I forget what the website's called, like label base or something, and it has every like record label, not every record, most record labels in there, and you can go by genre, and then it gives you the email. So then I have like a template, and then I'll just kind of change depending on the label. Like I'll change like certain information, or if there's certain songs I like in their label, I'll like include them, say, hey, this kind of sounds similar to, you know, X, Y, and Z, if you could check it out. And then I send them over like a private SoundCloud link, and then they're able to listen to it. They'll let me know, hey, you know, it doesn't fit our label, or hey, we like it, you know, blah, 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 blah. Or some record labels want to mix and master it themselves. And I've ran into a label like that where it's like, yeah, we'll put it in, but you got to pay, you know, 150 euros just to have us go and remix it and remaster it to have on our label. When it's like, but does it need to be mixed and mastered by your label? Because it doesn't necessarily sound like it needs to be. Am I just paying 150 euros so that you can put it on your label? So I've kind of just stirred away from those.
Gotcha.
From those labels.
Okay, cool, man. That's pretty awesome. So, you know, how does it feel to, because I remember one of the first gigs that you did at Exchange, because Exchange is a very big, not Exchange,
Avalon.
Avalon.
Yeah,
Avalon. And we used to go to Avalon like back in the day, and it was like always a poppin' club, and it is one of those still premier clubs like in the world. I think I've seen a list of like 100 clubs in the world, and Avalon was on that list.
Yeah.
So what was the feeling like getting booked for that gig?
Dude, it was absolutely just like mind blowing. I was nervous, and it felt amazing. And I was like, wow, like you said, we used to go to Avalon. We used to party there, and they had like their after hours. We'd be there all night. And I was like, man, I'm going to play at a club that I go to. This is going to be, so it was an absolutely great feeling. Yeah,
Awesome.
and I killed it that night too.
You did really well.
So that led to more bookings, like just being able to just fully just release my sound that I wanted to give out that night, how I wanted to control that crowd, and what songs that I played next led to the managers there being like, "Yo, look at the crowd he's pulling in. Let's get him back." And then it led to about like 9 months of just booking like week after week.
Yeah,
and it was pretty awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
So take me back like 6 months before that. Where are you in the music creative process? Where are you in reaching out to try to get booked? Where are you in the networking atmosphere? What is it like 6 months before that?
So 6 months before that, it was a lot of bedroom DJing, a lot of just in my room, just hitting the mixing, trying to get better at, everything. Trying to get better at transitions, trying to get better at song choice, recording, trying to see how my sound levels were. Yeah. And it was just honing that craft. And then me and the wife went to an event, and it was, I forgot what, I think we were at Joseph's right by Avalon, and I saw the dude DJing, and I just kind of just literally was like, hey, I was like, "Hey babe, I'm just gonna go talk to him and see what's up."
Yeah.
And I just went up to him, and it was just like, "Hey, I'm an inspiring DJ. I see that you're DJing here. Like, would love to pick your brain." And he was like, "Oh yeah, come back. I have like another gig or something like that." So I ended up meeting him again, networking again, just going and kind of doing the same thing, kind of standing around, bought a ticket for his gig, to support him. And then after that was just talking to him, kind of just getting to know him. He ended up working for cell phones like me, and then it kind of just snowballed into, I work for a promoter. I can try to get you on and see what I can do. So at that point, I just kind of heavily started like backing him, like going to his shows, which wasn't even that long. It was probably like a month, right? And then he got me like the Avalon stuff. But before that, it was just a lot of just sitting down with my DJ equipment and just trying to learn the best ways possible to like DJ. And then I was going to Guitar Center, and I was DJing on like the really expensive club stuff. And I would go there and take my USB and random songs and plug into Guitar Center and be there for like 45 minutes and just like DJ with their speakers all loud. And they don't say anything.
Yeah, I've seen people do that.
Yeah,
they actually probably encourage it.
Yeah, because you can sell that they're selling, like, you're pretty much like selling the product.
Yeah.
And then I would go and make sure, okay, well, if I'm at the club, this is the equipment. Let me figure out how I'm going to use it, so that when I got to Avalon, I was like, okay, I know this equipment. I can do this. This is easy.
So the equipment at Avalon, they have a station for everybody to use. You kind of just plug in.
Yeah, so they have like the CDJs. So they usually have like two, depending on what floor you're on or what stage you're on. They usually have like the mixer and then like 3 CDJs, and then from there you just pretty much just plug in your USB, and then the CDJs talk to each other. So you just kind of link them up together. You can get your playlist, and then from there you can scroll, load your song, queue it up, and then also too, what you got to do is you got to go into Record Box. And you load all your songs, and then you can add your digital cue points. So then you can be like, okay, well, I normally bring this song in the beginning, but the beginning is messed up, so I gotta like re-cue it to like the first bar, and then you'll add like another cue, like where the drop is or the second drop, or you can cue like a vocal chop. So if there says like something like yo yo yo, when you're bringing another song, you can like hit that vocal chop and
yo yo yo.
You can
yeah, or something like that.
Yeah, if you want to I normally did it like on like cool vocals, or like just to kind of sound like you were kind of like scratching it a little bit, so you can just kind of like, depending on where it's coming in, or little things to be creative. Or like if you have an acapella loaded up and you know that you have like a decent breakdown coming down that you kind of want it not to be so flat, you can throw the acapella over that flat area, and then toward now it's starting to build up, so the acapella is like building up while the other songs kind of transitioning up. Yeah, so it's just you're layering tracks on top to make different sounds, you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. That's so cool, man. And did you have this idea that you were going to DJ at clubs when you first started, or was this kind of like you were just wanted to do it as a hobby because you enjoyed making music and spinning?
It was just pure hobby. There was no clubs, no DJing out for people at all. It was just something I wanted to learn. So it was just like, hey, this looks cool. I like seeing and watching DJs. I was like, my uncle's been a DJ his whole life. I was like, I'm going to buy this little DJ set and try to figure out just how it works and how it operates. And then I noticed I started to get good at it. I was like, okay, maybe I should try to book something. Let me push and then it started to motivate me. Then I started to train, like kind of like switch my thought process. I was like, okay, maybe I really do want to do this. And then it got to the point where I was like, I have to do this. Like, I just love it. And then I did my first show and I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And it just snowballed into that.
Yeah. Isn't that funny how that happens? Like you started off with just wanting to try it out. And then through that, you got good at it and you gave you some confidence and it kind of just, like you said, snowballed. And I think that's very true for a lot of people, but a lot of people don't take the first step in order to buy the DJ set, or in order to buy the microphone, or whatever it is,
or just start from ground up,
or just start from nothing. Yeah. But I mean, because everything that we see is the DJ at a rave or some club, big event, and they got sick fucking camera people, they got a sick setup, and they're like, damn, like I'd like to do that, but like I gotta do all of this. I gotta buy this equipment. I gotta learn the software. I gotta network. I gotta go out and actually do it in front of people and do all this stuff in order to get there. It seems like a daunting process, but I think this is very important that if you just get started, you need to see where that leads. Yeah.
And see if it even snowballs into a passion to want to do it. Because you might see that end result being like, I want that, but I don't want to really do all the work to get there. And a lot of people will, sit there and say they're DJs or they're this or that. And then in 2 years from now, hey, are you still DJing? I don't even know what you're talking about. That was a phase. You know what I mean? It's a sprint, but it is a marathon. Music is just a marathon. You're going to have to keep running, keep going, but there's going to be times where you got to sprint and really work hard to kind of get that next step. And I feel like people will look at a furnace, right, and say, hey, give me fire, then I'll give you wood. So we want it. We want it now, but we don't want to do the work. Yeah.
I know what you mean completely. So we've done about 23 minutes. So we'll start to like close up. Phone's ringing, so hopefully the Facebook Live's still going or whatever. But so we covered a lot of good things, man, and we didn't have any specific agenda, but I just wanted to come and do a podcast, because the one thing that I like about doing this podcast and that I've found very interesting is now I'm meeting a lot of new people, but also like reconnecting with a lot of old people as well. I mean, we haven't seen each other in such a long time, and if it wasn't for this podcast, I don't know how much longer we would have gone without seeing each other. So this is something. Thank you so much for coming through. I mean, always. Like we live down the street from each other.
It took me 7 minutes to get here.
It took 7 minutes to get here. We've known each other forever, but yet life gets busy and we have a family stuff, because I mean, you're doing so much with your brother and your daughter, and you got your wife, you got your family, you know,
you got my dogs,
you got your dogs. It's like we're 30 years old now, and it's not going to slow down. And matter of fact, it's only going to get busier, in my opinion. And you're doing your music as well,
and then I have an actual job,
and you have an actual job as well. So it's just, I think it's important to make time for the things that you want to do and the people that you want to see. I think that's something that's very important. And so thanks for coming, man. I really appreciate it.
No worries, man. Yeah, like you said, man, my life's been super hectic lately. My brother just started wrestling, so I told him to start wrestling 3 years ago, but he decided to start wrestling now. So I've been going to his practices. I'll roll with him, the whole team. I'm literally doing like a full-on practice. Luckily, I can kind of get away without having to drill as much, but if there's an empty slot and there's a kid chilling there and he's not drilling, I jump in and fill that spot and just, you know, help out, go to his tournaments and stuff like that. So that's like
cool.
a full-time job right there, just alone, man.
That's so crazy.
You know?
Where do you find the time to do all this?
I'm very blessed that my job is very flexible.
Yeah.
So I'm able to, I'm sales based. So as long as I hit my quota, I can kind of move my stuff around. So my clients don't really answer their phone past 4 or 5 o'clock. So I'm not really, I'm off at 5 technically. So as long as I'm, you know, available and working and hitting my number, I'm able to kind of move my schedule around. And
that's beautiful.
Yeah. So
that is really
I've worked my
beautiful.
ass off to get there, you know?
Yeah.
So now that I'm able to spend time and help my brother, I'm like, I'm going to go full force and try to turn him into the fastest beast possible to try to help him out.
Very cool.
So, and then my kid does the kids class after from 6 to 8 p.m. So then I'm coaching her on that. And it's just like, all right, let's get this done because I want to go home and go sleep.
Yeah, that is crazy, man. Well, shit, dude. Let's call that a wrap. You know, thanks so much, dude. I appreciate it.
No worries.
So tell people where they could find you on Instagram or wherever.
Yeah, just Micky Waltz on Instagram, Beatport, Spotify, YouTube, pretty much every Apple Music. Just Micky Waltz. That's
Micky
it.
Waltz.
Yeah, okay. No E. Micky with no E.
Micky with no E. Cool, man. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.